Good morning, traders. Good morning. Welcome back to another live stream here. Let's jump right into it. If you're new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Before we get started, make sure you read what is on the screen. Very important. Trading's risky. Most traders do lose money. If you trade, you're probably going to lose all or more of the money that you start to trade with. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't offer financial advice. Nothing I say or do here or anywhere else is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make your own trading decisions. Do your own research. I'm just an idiot yapping on YouTube. Make sure you read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links in my content. Let's jump onto the charts, see what we are up against today here on ES. This beautiful Monday, March 10th. Let's bring some energy, wake you guys up, and see if we can navigate these markets, man. Looking very, very weak overall. But let's get some top-down analysis rolling, right? Let's just kind of look at the daily chart, start out looking there. And before that, we don't have really any news on the board today. We don't have a massive news event or anything like that. We have President Trump speaking. They added that. Looks like between this morning and now. He's on the board to speak tentative. Don't have a time for him today. Let's see if I could find that. Other than that, we are clear. Yeah, nothing. It looks tentative, so I'm not going to be able to anticipate that. I'm just going to run it as is. Tomorrow we have JOLTS opening. We got CPI coming out on Wednesday, and then unemployment claims, PPI, core PPI on Thursday, and then a little bit of red folder as well on Friday. So rest of the week we do have red folder every day. So not massive news events, right? Like not the FOMC rate, not an NFP, but we are clear today. No, like nothing today at all. So outside of Trump, which can be wild, but gonna leave that one be. So now that we got that covered, let's take a look at the chart, man. We are selling off right here into the open. Market is open now, 9:30, almost 9:31 a.m. Eastern. Extremely weak, right? Like, I don't know how else I would describe this day over day, week over week, looking at this daily chart here on micro ES, other than weak. Sellers have been taking this thing lower day over day. We've really been struggling to get above prior day high. If you look at, each one of these candles, we've continually broke lows to the downside. We were hammering into this level right here for a couple days, and now we are coming back down to approach, the low from Friday after a really gnarly push to the downside. We're opening up gap down. We can see the kind of bullish close on this, doji looking candle from Friday, right? This is the 7th. And we've since just opened up to the downside, just sellers continuing to take this thing lower. So objectively, looking at the chart, this looks very weak. It looks weak from a higher time frame view. As I zoom out even further, right, we look at months of data. We know that, U.S. indices traditionally are going up over time. They are showing strength, month over month, year over year. But right here, right now, we are selling off. We are down below, this 5,800 level, which looked like it was being tested as support. We are, quickly approaching, back down towards the 5,500, which would be like way, way down below. But right here, right now, we are at a high volume area, an area that's been tested as resistance before a pop up. And then, we could see some daily closes around this level. So It's not a super clean level, right? Next prior low looking would be all the way down here near like the 55.50s. That's where I have this zone marked off, coming off these highs, you know, from months and months ago into last year. But right now, you know, we start to get down below prior day's low, man. It could be lookout below. We could see a lot of weakness to the downside. And that's what I'm cautious of. That's what I'm cautious of. But as we start to drop down lower, looking at the 5-minute, really the same thing, right? Aligning with that higher time frame trend, day over day, looking weak, breaking lows. As we jump into what happened between, you know, end of day Friday and now, we can see we opened up with a literal gap, but we were also opening up, you know, gap down. This is looking very, very weak. We chopped above VWAP for a bit before coming back down below VWAP this morning. This is 4 a.m. Eastern today, and we are selling off. We've been selling off pre-market right into the open here, where we are selling off on this 5-minute candle and 1-minute candle that's printing. So dropping down to my trading time frame, let's just zoom out, get these VWAPs to reset. Just take a look, mark this up, 9:30. Yeah, breaking this overnight low. Ooh, this overnight low. That moved a little bit lower after I had marked that this morning. So let's just get that one set at the right area. This is going to be our accurate overnight low. Breaking down right off the rip, man. Again, if you guys are new here, I typically don't jump right into the New York Open here at 3 minutes into the open. I like to try to wait for that 15-minute opening range if it's at all possible. If something sets up really clean before then, maybe as we start to see where that 15-minute opening range is going to set, I might look for it, but definitely not minute, 3 or 4 or 5 for that matter. This thing wants to break to the downside, break yesterday's low, Friday's low, and start to sell off. I'm going to be waiting patient, see if we can get some structure to this downside and look to take it short. But everything today, similar to last week, in the last few days that you've been watching me trade, is calling short on this. I will look long if I have to, but I would really want to see some strength back all the way like up, towards VWAP and pushing above. But yeah, I'll take my trades as they set up. Tough trading session on Thursday. I think it was the last live I did here on YouTube for me last week. 2 quick back-to-back L's, but part of it, man. Taking it short, playing off of market structure and price action, utilizing the tools that I use, part of the game. Absolutely flowing with trend. Trades that I was going to take, any day of the week, just didn't pay. But was really anticipating a push lower, if I'm remembering correctly. But watching this thing set up right now, man, there was a lot of weakness to the downside. Again, I'm going to let volatility come in. We do have this gap up above. Gaps like to get filled, right? There are statistics around gaps at the open and, actual physical gaps on the candlestick chart just like this, where there's such a discrepancy in price right off the rip. These do like to get filled. They like to get traded passed over. So that would be, somewhat of a bullish call on this. But I'm not looking for buys on this until, again, we came really back past VWAP up towards prior day session VWAP. This is looking very weak from higher time frames to lower time frames. I'm certainly cautious that we could chop today. Kind of the last, if we don't sell off, if we don't push back and correct, we can absolutely chop, right? We can see just a lot of back and forth price action, kind of difficult to trade stuff. It is a no news Monday. Sometimes we just get that hesitation in the market, that consolidation, that kind of balancing. But that's not going to keep me out of trades. But we got increasing volume here. This is interesting. But again, down below VWAP, down below prior day session VWAP. Our current session VWAP is down below that. And we have New York VWAP here, which is kind of back and forth at the moment based on this structure that we formed so far. And where we are in yesterday's range and the overnight range, right? The range of those sessions, we are banging against overnight session low. We just cracked it, and we are almost at prior day session low, right? Coming off the daily candle. We are looking very weak, opening up to the downside. Very, very weak. So I'm cautious of longs, but as you guys know, I do stay flexible. I try not to create a real strong bias that says, I won't take a long play if something sets up because we're so weak from higher time frames. Trading the 1-minute chart. I want to trade that chart in front of me. So let's see what starts to happen here. Again, if we start to break and run to the downside, I'm not going to be the first seller. I'm not going to catch the breakout. I would be looking for some structure to form, right? If we start to come all the way lower, really aggressively break, I'm going to be looking for some kind of pullback up, something maybe to retest a prior day low, a prior low broken in a downtrend to continue. You know, maybe it gets really, really aggressive like this. And like I talked about where sometimes I do get stuck waiting for a level, waiting for a VWAP to be tested. You know, I'll go ahead and just look for maybe like prior low broken the downtrend to jump in and a way to structure risk. Again, completely theoretical. I'm not speculating that that's going to happen. Just kind of an if this, then maybe that statement. We didn't break out to the downside. Maybe we come back up and test VWAP. That would be completely normal. I think that'd be a short setup somewhere up here, right? This area consolidation, these lows that were put in overnight session and on Friday could absolutely see that happen. We could really pull back pretty aggressively today and then just kind of make for an odd session. Again, I'm not going to be quick to buy this just based on what's been going on these indices. But, you know, there could certainly be buys from down at this level, right? We are rejecting here so far, testing overnight low, higher time frame. You could say, hey, man, I'm trading the 15-minute chart and I want this to the upside. Again, this is not how I'm trading ES right now, just kind of mapping something out. And you say, yeah, we're going to pull all the way back up and I'm going to run a real wide stop loss, crazy clean invalidation point. If we push, 35 points lower and we crack yesterday's low, I'm dead wrong. I think we're headed to the downside. But right here, right now, this gives you a way to structure risk. You could even, make it like 30 points, 27 points. But that's not how I'm trading it. Trading it much more zoomed in. And looking to the downside so far. If we retested VWAP and then started to sell off, I would still look short on this. If we pulled up above these highs and then came aggressively lower, I would still look short on this. About 5 minutes to the 15-minute opening range, which I like to utilize. And just as a time block to say, there's probably a lot of volatility that's going to occur right at NYSE open. I want to be cautious of that. So stay patient for the first few minutes. So see how this sets up for us. There was not anything crazy on Bookmap. Looking right off the rip. We do have some orders down at 56.80. Yeah, right back down towards the lows of the session. We have some orders that came on the book. Those look like they were below and maybe got moved up. That could want to get filled. I'll show you guys Bookmap here in just a minute. And all the way down at 56.50. Nice round psychological number. All the way down here, we got quite a few on the book. So we got some targets if we start to sell off. But appreciate you guys hopping on, man. Got some people on here. What's up? Smash the like button if you're on here with me trading this Monday morning. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Good morning, Lone Wolf. What's going on? MNQ, if MNQ actually goes down, my target would be a little below 19,600. Yeah, that would be a sell-off, right? But certainly something we could see. We start to break lows. This could be violent to the downside, but we're not doing that yet. We are cracking back up, pulling back up. Looks like we want to go check out our good friend VWAP. Session VWAP here, but again, could just be a sweep above these highs before some aggressive selling. But I'm going to wait and stay patient on this one. Like I talked about, probably not going to take a trade in the next 3 or 4 minutes before 15-minute opening range. We will get those levels set up on our chart. Just zoom out so I don't have to make this like a nightmare to do. So far, here's what we're looking at. Reset the VWAP line, back on the 1 minute. Let's see what we get out of ES here today, man. Let's see if we can't grab a couple points here on ES. I'd like to do that. Put some profit in these accounts and call it a morning with you guys. But we're going to be patient, right? Monday morning. We don't want to be too quick on the trigger. Again, this isn't set yet. This is the 15-minute opening range. If you guys are new here, you don't know what that is, you're new to trading. The first 15 minutes from 9:30 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. Eastern would be an opening range. People use shorter times than that, longer times. Another really common one that I like to pay attention to if I'm trading, into the hour and a half, first 2 hours of the session, which I often am, is initial balance, the first 1 hour of the opening range. Other levels I have on my chart are overnight low and overnight high. The high of the session and the low of the session put in between the close of prior day's trading and 9:30 a.m. Eastern. That's how I define that. I've heard it called different things, but that's the way that I objectively define that. Prior day's high and low, objective levels, same on my chart as it is on your chart. Go to the daily chart, look at the top wick and the bottom wick of the prior day's candle. Those are interesting to pay attention to. I find they're very well respected. Along with that, they give you some reference as to where the hell you are on the 1-minute chart relative to the higher time frames, right? That's something that helps out. And while I'm talking about the entire chart, 3 VWAPs, the standard session VWAP, just the indicator, straight standard settings with just colored white, and 2 anchored VWAPs. Prior day, 9:30 a.m. This purple one is anchored to prior day, 9:30 a.m. session, start of the session. And this one right here, this little blue one, is marked anchored to 9:30 a.m. Of this session. These are drawing tools, and this one is under the indicators tab. Visible range volume profile on the right-hand side, traditional volume down on the bottom. Standard settings for volume. This one's got some custom settings. If you're interested in that, happy to break it down for you. Gives me some volume tools. Actually, every tool on my chart outside of the horizontally plotted levels are volume tools, right? Volume weighted average price, volume profile, and traditional, standard volume, whatever you would call just the volume indicator down on the bottom. Along with that, order flow, my good friend Bookmap sitting over on the right-hand side. Again, show you guys that in a minute, but right now I am getting ready for this 15-minute opening range to set. I want to see what happens up here. I think we could really aggressively turn to the downside. It doesn't look like we want to do it yet based on this push up. I would be interested in a sell if we came back across current session, maybe back down towards this middle ground of high volume here. I could see potentially something. I would like a test of VWAP. It would be pretty sweet if we actually cracked VWAP for a minute, swept that, and then rejected to the downside pretty nicely. That would be interesting for me for a sell. But again, maybe we're going to creep higher today. Maybe we're just going to chop. I could be getting faked out on something like that. I don't know that I would want to hold the trade for a break of the low. But I think even if we are going to push higher, like maybe this is, just actually going to be a choppy day, or we're going to correct to the upside. I think it's likely that if we test VWAP, we might not. It'd be pretty sweet if we did. And we started to sell off really aggressively without even having to hold for a break of lows and break a 15-minute opening range. I could take a short back down towards this, right? Because maybe we're going to come down here and then fake everybody out that's getting short and blast off. This would still present a short to the downside here, which is why I don't mind these low time frames. You can get in, get out quick, grab profit. You don't have to have the whole move right. You can just grab a small portion of it. So we have our 15-minute opening range. That is going to be the high right here. Can we crack the upside, test VWAP, and then maybe kind of come back in really aggressively? I'll be looking short on this. I'd be looking short on this. Again, not yet, right? We could blast off, start pushing the upside. Objectively, somewhat of a choppy open. Where we were pushing up on this 9:30 candle, aggressively cracked overnight low, and then immediately have pulled back up. This is showing some strength so far, but I could see this coming back down through overnight low, retesting 15-minute opening range low, and again, just presenting some opportunity to trade across this range. We didn't get this test of VWAP though, man. I'm not going to take this. If this was setting up right here after a test of VWAP, I'd be looking short right here, right now, to come through this range, back down to these lows. This is just such a strong marker and line in the sand on the chart. I'm not going to trade short below it and have a stop loss below it. It's just not good. Not good for me. But this may just sell right off from here. Again, had we retested VWAP and I could get a stop loss up above VWAP, and again, I'm being picky with it, right? I would be looking for something along these lines. You know, coming to the downside of this big area of high volume, back down towards overnight low. Something along those lines. But obviously, this is a little area of consolidation, right? You can see the temporary volume point of control right down around the anchored VWAP, anchored volume weighted average price for this session. So kind of choppy so far. Not a ton of direction out of this, but that looks like it would have paid. Again, strong line in the sand here, though. These U.S. indices love to come back and check out session VWAP. So I don't like having a stop loss at VWAP, right? I like trading off of VWAP after we get some, some strength or some weakness. Really don't like having a stop loss, right, in an area that I think is very, very likely to be tested. So don't really have an initial setup on this yet. Got to wait to see what happens. We come all the way back through this level, start breaking the downside. Again, I am looking short, but it's going to be on structure to the downside. We push the upside. I want to see what happens here. I'm not going to look long right out of this 15-minute opening range. If we rejected really harshly and came back down in, I'd be looking short again. If we pulled something like this, at that point, I'd probably be looking long on more breaks and closes above, but I don't really see that happening yet. So sitting patient, just kind of mapping out some if-then statements. Nothing right here from this middle ground of this range. I don't like to be trading from the absolute middle of an area of consolidation. Not a clean way to structure risk on the inside or outside of it. So I'm gonna wait and see. Appreciate you guys hopping on. If you are new here, welcome to the show. Smash the like button, subscribe if you want to chat for next time. I keep subscriber mode on for a couple hours to try to keep the endless internet trolls and scammers out. If you're in my Discord, nobody's giving away free MacBooks, guys. I don't know. That's another new one that I keep seeing. Outside of just impersonating me, nobody's giving you a free MacBook or an iPhone. So if someone hops in the group and says, I'm just giving away my free MacBook, lol, winky face, that's a scam. If anybody DMs you for any reason on Discord, 99% of the time it's a scam. If they're offering something for free or to invite you somewhere or do something, that's stranger danger, guys. You probably don't want to engage with that. Just ask them to message you in the main chat. That goes for any Discord you're in, mine or anywhere else. Unfortunately, even with emails required and closed group type stuff, still frustrating. If you're new and you want to join the 100% free community where we ban scammers quick, here is the link. More than happy to have you in. Talking about news, answering questions, talking about prop firms, talking about everything that goes into trading, the good, the bad. We got a bunch of guys in there sharing stories. It's awesome to get a feel for what's going on in the markets on a daily basis, having a good community. Even just a place to say, dude, I blew up today. This sucks. Somebody else, maybe is in there. Maybe it's me to talk to you, to say, yeah, I feel that, man. Your family sometimes doesn't know what the hell you're talking about when you're yapping about trading. So 100% free community. More than happy to have you in. If you're from the free community, appreciate you being back on here, man. Yeah, pulled back down to this area of high volume. Found some buyers here. Not surprising, right? Right in the middle of this consolidation. Looks like we want to go and test highs. If we got above this level, I think it's very likely. Ooh. Volatility. Uh-oh. That was very aggressive. High volume candle. Cracked immediately to the downside. Maybe somebody said tariff. That's been happening a lot. Let's see. And my Bookmap disconnected and then reconnected. Show you guys Bookmap real quick. This is my favorite order flow tool. This is Bookmap disconnecting, which I don't love, but it happens sometimes. Don't know why. Sometimes with massive volatility like that, right there. Unfortunately, it did. But we got some liquidity to the downside. This is this algorithmic above and below price, you know, pretty tight BS. Not really paying attention to that. This is what I'm paying attention to. Nice lit up level on the book. Above and below price. It's starting to get overlapped by this algorithmic stuff. This looks like we want to sell here, man. I think we're coming lower just based on that continuation after that crack lower. But we do have some targets to the downside into the 74s and below. 73s, 73.5, 56.80. Big stack of orders on the book there. Down around the low of this session so far. I could absolutely see that getting filled. Up above price, 57.20 we have some. And then way down here at the 56.50, we got a big stack on the book. Big stack. So this will be interesting to watch today. We got some orders resting on the book. But again, watching this chart, ooh, that was interesting, man. Immediate candle open and print to the downside. A lot of volume. You can see it here. And then continuation right after. That looks like something. Let's see if we can see that on NQ. That looks like something that somebody opened their mouth about. like a Trump tweet. Just that kind of movement. Not that it matters, right? Like, not that I use that in my trading. Like, what's happening fundamentally. Yeah, it's happening across indices. But just when you see something so rapid and violent, it's not a scheduled news event. It's not something that was a data release. This looks like we break to the downside here. Yeah, liquidity down below, 56.80. Excuse me, 56.80. Yeah, again, right, I said right around the lows of this session, right around 15-minute opening range low. But I'm cautious of trading right into stuff like that. You know, once I see it, right? I don't know that's coming, but once you see rapid price movement, right? A lot more maybe volatility and volume than anything else that was just happening at an unexpected time. Maybe exercise caution. I'll still trade, but a lot of times that can just reverse right away. You know, it could just be initial knee-jerk reaction. Maybe it is just big orders getting filled, you know, that type of stuff. I like this short though, guys. I like this short down towards the 80s. This is breaking overnight low again, retesting. I just think we could crack back up here, right? We came back and retested it after we pushed highs. This is a nice middle ground to trade off of. I'm going to see what happens if we come back up here, or if we get close and we start to really aggressively sell back off. I think I'm going to look short on this for the first trade to the downside. This is somewhat choppy, right? And maybe we're just going to kind of chop back and forth here. But if we can get a pullback up here and then a push lower, this is kind of low for it again. I'm just not getting my setup. Not really getting what I need here. Retest of this middle ground, retest of anchored session VWAP. And then aggressive selling pressure, taking it back down. That would indicate, yeah, sellers want to take this down. We got liquidity down below that we can go and target down towards prior day low. This is a little tricky, though. Let's see what we get. a little wiggly. We could see some fast movement. This could be dicey to the downside. Again, guys, looking at this as a potential for a break lower. We failed to come down and break that 15-minute opening range low on the first push right here. So that could be a case to be made to say, hey, we don't have as much weakness as we might like. Let's see. Dow living in its own world, pushing to the upside. NASDAQ pulling back after cracking lower. Yeah, I don't know. I like this liquidity to the downside on Bookmap also. Didn't help me out too much on Thursday, though. I'll tell you that. It wasn't too fun to take two back-to-back L's very quickly. See what happens here. I'm taking this short, guys. I'm going to take this short from way up here right away on this initial reaction to the downside. I'm looking at liquidity down below towards 580, down towards this 15-minute opening range low. It's not something that I'm going to hold on to forever. We could aggressively push right back through this area of high volume and come and check this out. I didn't wait for a breakdown below here because it just would not give me a way to structure risk. But I am short from 56.93, 3 micros, stop at 57.06 and 3/4. Targeting around, this may play out pretty quickly, targeting around the 56.80. Again, just this first stack of liquidity. It's not a beautiful risk to reward. It's not something I'm going to hold on for a banger. We could absolutely break and run to the downside. I'm not going to capture that if we do. I'm just going to look to grab some quick profit to the downside if we continue to sell here. Let's see as we come down towards this first level of liquidity. Getting close to this 56.80 level. Let's see if we can start to crack through it. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see. We're sitting at it really, really, really harshly. Not really coming through it. There we go. All right. That was a quick one. This may absolutely dump from here. Just what I described as I was in the trade, right? I try to rattle stuff off really, really quickly if it starts to play out like that. Not going for the massive move. This may absolutely break and run to the downside. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge what I'm looking for when I take the trade. Just under $200 for me in these accounts, even though these are Topstep accounts. I'm payout eligible in every single one of these. Doesn't matter if I grab $200 or $189 across 3. That's what I was afraid of right here. Really aggressive reaction. I'll show you what this looks like on Bookmap. But we can break down that trade in a second. I like that execution. Happy with that one. Nice, quick in and out. Cannot be mad with almost $600 across 3 accounts in like 2 minutes. But we had some weakness showing, right? We had weakness showing on whatever the hell that move was to the downside really aggressively. Got close, pulled back up to this area of high volume, right? Just utilizing basic volume tools. This session VWAP here started to fail to get above, and I took it pretty aggressively, right? I was initially going to wait for us to start to come down like this, but I took it aggressively when I saw that candle open up to the downside. It allowed me to get a stop loss above this level to say, hey, if we're going to hang out up here and then start to come higher, I'm wrong. We're probably going to break out to the upside and run. But the thesis of this trade is we're going to do exactly what we did and break down to the downside right here, right now, right? This is very similar to what I was doing on Thursday, and it just didn't play out. Like, this is kind of how it goes sometimes. But we broke. We had liquidity right down here at 80. That's, I believe, why we had such a gnarly reaction to the upside really quickly. And that's why I took profit right down here at 80. Like, look at the bottom of that wick right there. We pulled immediately, you know, almost 10 points back. We didn't come all the way back up. 7.5, 8 points back up off that wick before the next candle opened up. Now, again, we are showing weakness. We are down around a low point. This may break and absolutely sell off. That's not the thesis for my trade. If I wanted that trade, I would run something like this, right? I'd run something with a much wider stop loss, right? Way up above session high to say, I think the thesis is we're going to break and run. I'm going to hold through these levels right here, and I want us to come way lower. That's cool, but you probably want to give your trade more room to breathe. In any event, first trade, W. Can't be mad about that. Nice to start the week off with a win. Putting some green, putting some money in the accounts, and let's see where we go from here. Light risk. That was actually just under a 1-to-1, right? I had like $203 on the board. Like I said, not a massive risk to reward. I'm not looking for this to be a banger trade. I don't need it to be. If we find resistance down here and support down here and pop to the upside, I'm cool. I'm in and out, and I'll watch to see what happens next. So from down here, looking for another setup, still looking short. We have liquidity just below these levels, right at 75, and then we got a big stack on the book down here at. I'm actually going to mark this. Yeah, we can make this like a light orange color. That is quite a bit of liquidity on Bookmap. We have it literally right here as well at 75. I'm going to show you guys how we use Bookmap. I made a couple posts on Instagram. Got a lot of response from that, but we look like we're coming down into it right now. Let's take a look at it together. Here was what was helping me, right? I showed you it earlier, but here's what was helping me with a trade thesis on this. Nice big stack of orders down here, 300 on the book, right? A little over 300 on the book. We start to come down towards that, reject some levels. This gives me some added confidence to trade towards it. And what happened? We did come right down into that 580. We found some support there. Buyers did step in. These buy orders filled. But first, we came and had a lot of trading get transacted right here. Quite a bit of volume. Now, coming through the 75s, we are eating up this liquidity to the downside. This could be really interesting for a breakdown towards 5650 to 650. Could be very interesting if we start to head down towards that level. Quite a bit on the book there. Again, is this magical? Does this happen every time? Are these levels always filled? No, just like any other tool. I find it useful to know where this stuff is because it's unlikely that nothing happens when we get there, right? Just not as likely. So let's see what we get for a potential second setup here. Watch to see what happens. But nice to start the week off with a W, man. Never mad about that. Played out very quickly too. Again, man, if you're hanging out on here, feel free. Smash the like button. Help me out. See, we got like 30 people on here. Appreciate you hopping on. Appreciate you hanging out. Just took the win on this one. Put a couple $100, just under a couple $100, really, $189 across a few accounts. And I talked about that a lot, right, in Instagram and in my reels. I'm working with like 10 accounts now, right? Got 5 on Topstep, multiple backup. I got 5 on Tradeify. I'm not copy trading all of them right here, right now. I'm copy trading 3 at a time. I'm testing some different things. I'm testing a copy trader so I can copy trade like all of them at the same time if I want to. And here's why. This $189 can be times whatever amount of accounts you want to copy trade. You can keep risk stupid low, $200 risk per trade, $100 risk per trade. Shoot for $50, $100, $200 and leverage compounding these profits through copy trading. Are you putting more money up front, on the line? Yes, you're risking more that way, copy trading. But if you are trading very conservatively from a risk perspective, right, relative to your drawdown and what you see a lot of guys trade these accounts like, you're able to like make these things last, right? If I'm trading $200 risk per trade, I got to take 10 L's back to back with no wins consecutive before I lose an account or accounts, right? It's not really likely to happen. Can it happen? Sure. You could have a really bad losing streak. Maybe you trade $100 risk per trade and you're copy trading your accounts and you give yourself 20 back-to-back L's with no wins. So again, I think it's really valuable to be able to do that. I don't care about the profit that you're putting in your account. If you're able to make profit consistently, you can always scale up by way of either individually doing it in the account, risking more per trade and per day, or copy trading. I am finding copy trading working like a charm. It's pretty sweet. I don't know how long it'll be around for. It seems like it's one of those too good to be true deals, but I'm going to leverage it while it's here, and I will share that with you guys, kind of how I'm looking to do that. But yeah, I'm copy trading different groups of accounts, and again, that $189 is times 3 right here. Turns into 567, right? You ain't mad about that in a couple minutes. And the entire time that I'm trading on with you guys, 30 minutes, What copy trade program are you using? For Topstep, this is Topstep X in the Project X platform. There's a native copier right here, on the platform. I'm just copy trading across 3 of the 5 accounts. With Tradeify, I'm using TradeSync. I just started testing that last week. It's not bad so far. Don't have any problems with it. I will bring that to you guys live here with me coming up soon. But I just want to get a little bit more testing in it, right? If I'm going to show you something, talk about something, I don't want to be like day one, showing you and talking about it. But that allows you to copy trade across Tradeify accounts, but also across prop firms. You can copy trade across multiple prop firms. So again, I'm not looking at it as a way to say, oh man, we're going to make $100,000 a day because we're going to make, $5,000 in profit in each account. No, like that's not the goal. The goal is, how small can I get? How much can I size down and give myself so much room to work, but maybe copy trade 5, 10 or more accounts and allow that small profit to get compounded. And yes, the small loss, but in each individual account that you're trading, you're giving yourself a ton of room to work. So again, a little bit different way that I've started to think about it. I was a little bit more hesitant. I felt it was just like, tripling or 10xing your risk. But if you think about it like, I'm going to size down in each of these accounts, I think you give yourself a lot of room to work. There is also an inherent risk with copy trading that is worth noting. They mess up sometimes. The market's, unique. Each account is a unique account. You can have an order not fill on one. Like, there's certain fail safes and things that protect against this, but there is an inherent risk, just the way there is trading one account, that you could have something go wrong execution-wise, slippage, a bad fill across multiple accounts. So that is worth noting. I see a lot of that, and that's why I'm cautiously trading and testing a new program before bringing it to you guys. And yeah, I'll kind of talk about it with you. Native copier and Project X seems to work very, very well, like almost flawlessly. If I scalp stupid aggressively, I do end up with different P&Ls. There's just different fills, especially if I'm marketing in and marketing out. But not bad, like not really bad. I never have something where like one account runs or anything like that. If you are going to use a third-party copier, you run a higher risk of that. But again, there's like fail safes put in place. If the lead account's closed, they try to close out all the other accounts, that type of stuff. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys more about that as I get more experienced in it. Do it live with you. You'll watch the mistakes. You'll watch stuff work well and not work well. So again, I know I'm yapping here. Just watching this crack prior day's low. I'm not looking to be the first seller here, but this is looking weak. This is looking weak down towards 56.50. Again, had I held on to that one, you would see it didn't come back on me. Would have been able to grab more profit. But just like I said, not the game plan, right? Not the way that I'm trading ES here or the 1-minute chart. In and out, if I can grab 1 hour profit, good to go. My data shows stop holding for the bangers. You're letting stuff come all the way back to break even or stop you out. And also stop moving stops to break even. Not helping me. But right here, right now, cracked prior day low. Back up to retest 15-minute opening range low. If this continues lower, this is another short setup that I'm tempted to look at right here, right now. Might have to risk it for the biscuit. Shay, no problem. No problem. Happy to talk to you about it. Yeah, TradeSync, if you guys want to look it up. They are in beta, right? So it's a new program. There's a handful of other ones that people use. That one I like. It's a third-party, nice web-based platform, very clear. I like the feel of it. I like what they're doing. I like the team behind it. I've talked to them personally. And if it's something that works really well, it's a company I'd be more than happy to partner with and say, hey, guys, Here's something to look at. It is a paid program, though. It is a paid program. But you got to pay to play, right? Good stuff ain't cheap. Cheap stuff ain't good. Most of the stuff in trading is free. Like as far as software and programs go, you know, you can be on TradingView. You don't have to pay for much. You want to use order flow, level 2 data. You want to look at Bookmap. You got to pay for that. You know, you want to use third-party tools to help automate things like copying trades, automating your trading journal with TradeZella. These are paid products. But that's up to you. So retest a 15-minute opening range low. Let's kind of see what happens here. Do we have to come all the way back up to where my stop was? You know, somewhere, or my entry was, rather, all the way back up to this area high volume? Or are we going to retest here, just kind of crack above, right? Retest this low, and then aggressively start to sell off. We aggressively start to sell off here. There's a short position. Like, it's definitely down low in the range. You know, this is play number 2, man. This isn't bad, and I might have to take this one. That could be setup number 2. You know, again, pending we turn from here, pending we come back down. Not as strong of an area where I would want to aggressively enter short from all the way up here on immediate selling pressure after retesting this range, although this could pay. I would look for it, I think, from down here, but I don't know that I'm going to take this one. I think we can pull back up into this range a little bit further, even if we come and chop here for a second. And this is a bit of a run to the downside that I'd be looking at. So I don't think that I'm going to jump into that one, but we'll see what happens. Good morning. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Appreciate you hopping on here. If you hopped on, smash the like button, help me out. Again, if you guys want to learn more about some of the stuff that I trade with, Tradeify is the other set of accounts, the accounts that I'm talking about copy trading as well. I'll drop a link in here. This is giving you 35% off straight to funded accounts. 35% off straight to funded accounts. Tradeify accounts cost more, but there is no eval. You go directly into the funded account stage. Whoa, we don't want no ads on here. Sorry, guys. Some copyright free stuff because I keep getting kicked off of my stream. Okay. 35% off straight to funded accounts, no evals. Different rules, minimum days to payout, buffer rules, requirement that you have to have a certain amount of profit before you take a payout, and a consistency rule. But if you are looking to not trade sim to pass a test before you're ready to trade in a funded account, you're confident in your system, you want to copy trade accounts, you want a consistency rule. Maybe I've heard a lot of guys say the consistency rule helps them out, just limits their upside and, you know, keeps them from getting greedy. Check out that link that I just dropped there. Brings the 50K account to $330 all in. Just did a video talking about it. If you're on here, you can check out my videos as well. Just did a video over the weekend talking about Topstep and Tradeify, some of the differences, right? Kind of comparing and contrasting the two. And although I titled that, What's the Best Prop Firm? I don't think there's any best prop firm, right? I think just like trading strategy, right? You have a lot of choices when it comes to prop firms. You have choices when it comes to brokers. It depends on you personally. Everybody's strategy is going to be very, very different. And there's different rule sets across all these firms. You're probably going to find one that suits you better than another one, right? Maybe you're someone who is scalping and you're aiming for the same profit target every day or something similar, or you don't mind a consistency rule and you're confident in your system. Tradeify might be great for you. Maybe you say, I'm a home run hitter, Zach, and I let my trade run and I take small losses and then I catch a banger day. Topstep might be a better fit for you, right? Maybe you're someone that's brand new to trading and you say, I want the cheapest account that I possibly can get. Maybe neither of these are good for you and you want to go for the absolute just cheapest account you can get. Maybe Topstep is a better option because you start for $49 in a 50K account. But going to be different for everybody. But yeah, I would absolutely check that out. So far, Tradeify has been pretty sweet to work with. And again, I love the idea of copy trading. I like the idea of not taking time if you're confident in your trading in evals and just going directly to a funded account. Do we break lower here? Sorry, guys. Do we break lower here? Could be a short setup right from here, headed back down towards these lows. I'm not going to take it, but I'm eyeballing it. This could be your play. Stop just above this high, right? If your thesis is we're going to continue lower, boom, you can run something like this. You can, hold a runner all the way down here. If we come back up above this high, I think we're coming to this middle ground. So this isn't a bad invalidation point, but I'm not taking this. We just got too much buyers down here. Too many buyers, right? This is fine structure. This is clean to the downside, like beautiful. If you're a trend line guy, this is looking really good. If you're, trading bear flags, you're looking at one right now, right? That's looking like a 1 minute bear flag, at least to me. If you're trading anchored VWAP, low of day anchored VWAP breaks, which I will also do in certain instances. We're breaking to the downside right here. Sellers back in control. There's nothing wrong with a short here. But again, what's keeping me out, at least for right now, like why wouldn't I take this one short? Just a little bit of consolidation and buyers found down here. We didn't immediately rip lower after pulling back. We might do it right now. But I would have liked to see either a lot of momentum to try to jump right in on this train to the downside. We do this, I think there's more chance of a pullback up. And that's just a little bit of discretion. Just not enough indication. But again, it would be like short on that candle close right there. That's the setup for me. Stop above here. Not a bad trade. Something that's valid for me. Something that I could take. I'll actually leave it on there so I could journal it later. Kind of just watch how it plays out. But that's, yeah, like right above that high is where I'd go with it. Something along those lines. Again, not taking this one. We got another big level to get through. We don't have liquidity on the book that was helping me out before. 70. Yeah, we got some down at 70. Right down around these lows. Ooh, we got a little bit more on the book here. What happened? 660 we got some. Not the 530 530 lots on the book down at 5650. But we do have quite a bit on the book down at the 660s, which is fresh. That just came on only about 2 minutes ago, which is why I'm reacting to it right now. Yeah, this may go. This might go. Well, we'll see how that paper trade plays out, right? We come down and break these lows. That would be a winner. I'll hide that one to take a look at later. Yeah, we got liquidity down at 70. That could help out. That just started to come on the book as well, only a minute ago. And 660. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. This right here that we're coming down into. This is algorithmic stuff. Don't care about this. Just, kind of ignoring that. There's tools to take it off, but I don't like the way the chart looks without it. I've just gotten so used to it like this. And then I'm looking at this down here, which only came on the book 1017, 1018. It's 1021, so we're talking a couple of minutes. But here we go. Look at the volume coming right through that level, breaking the lows of session now. This is looking weak. Looks like that paper trade would have paid. This is the next level down here. It is being overlapped now with this algorithmic liquidity, but you can see it right here. Just nice stack of orders. Looks like really two different levels. Like right at 660 and then down at 59, we got some stacks of orders. And then what I was watching earlier, which is this 650 level, pretty big stack of orders down here. So, and then again, big surprise right here that we came into orders, quite a bit of orders on the book. Saw a lot of volatility, right? Big movement, reaction to the upside after cracking it. No, one of the reasons I like Bookmap. So let's see what happens down here. I don't know if I'm going to get another one. That was an opportunity right here. We kind of double bottom and break this. Yeah, the opportunity is now. It's short from here with a stop loss up here. That's your play. If you're looking at, for me, nothing is calling buy. Like I'm not taking this long. Nothing on this chart to me says buy, right? Not from the higher time frame to the lower time frame. Sure, you could always be taking a cheap trade and trying to catch the falling knife. Not my play. This looks to me like short towards 650 as an easy trade to the downside. I'm not going to take it. Again, I'm trading the 1 minute. This wasn't bad, but not great. Like if this pulled back up here and then aggressively came lower, I'm short again for sure. This wasn't really bad. Maybe even an overnight low break and then push back down. I would have taken that, but I don't know about this one. We may sell off right from here. That's why I'm saying I think the opportunity is like right here, right now, if you wanted to get short on this. But I don't know about taking it from down here. Not a play for me. Again, just buyers stepping in here and really aggressively bringing it higher off yesterday's low is concerning, right? Because one time they step in like this, it doesn't just pull back up here. We crack higher, kind of like what we're seeing right now. Like I wouldn't be too happy if I sold the breakout right now. So I'm just staying patient on this, waiting patiently to see if we get another setup. We are about to get our initial balance, the first 1 hour of trading from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. Eastern. See if we crack that to the downside. Yes, I prefer the end of day drawdown to the intraday one. One of the reasons I don't go to TickTickTrader, though their payment processing is better than almost every prop firm. Yeah. I don't know. I never really have like so much issue or focus on payment. As long as I'm gonna get paid, I don't mind. Like I've never had an issue with Topstep. I know other guys have, at certain points. So I don't want to say blanket statement. But for me personally, I request on Topstep. It's in my bank account in like 2 days. So. I don't need to be paid out like in 16 seconds for me hitting the button. Would I like that? Sure. Like, why not? But yeah, the end of day trailing drawdown for me is really important. Like, I would not be able to function with an intraday trailing drawdown, especially, maybe I would, but especially not a unrealized intraday trailing drawdown. I think that would be really hard. I would find a way to handle intraday trailing drawdown, right? You just got to be cautious of, of how your trades are starting to play out and kind of what happens throughout the trading day. But an unrealized intraday trailing drawdown, it makes it they make it more difficult, right? It just objectively makes it harder. But yeah, TickTickTrader I think is another solid firm. Been around for a long time. They don't make a whole lot of noise and drama or anything like that, but I never see issues with them. Another one that I just don't see issues with. TickTickTrader pays you from day one. Cool. So like so what do you mean by that, Lone Wolf? And I should know some more about this, but you mean that once you pass the eval, you're immediately able to take payouts? Is there any requirement for a buffer? Is there any requirement before you take that first payout? Like if you pass the eval and then you make $500, you could just take whatever the payout is based on a profit split. Maybe you can even tell me more about that one. I've been doing too many different things, and I know enough about take profit, but I don't want to stick my neck out and say the wrong thing. I think I know the answer to that question, but you can tell me. Pulling back up, chopping around here. We're failing to go higher. Like this is still looking bearish, right? Lower low put in, putting a lower high in, failing to come above these low time frame highs. This is still looking really weak, man. We come down to these lows again. I do think we're breaking. I just don't think we test these again and we don't come lower. Yeah, we might do it. And it might be aggressive. Are we gonna sell off today? Is this gonna be like a really bloody week in the U.S. indices from a higher time frame? This is scary, man. You know what this looked like when we started on the on the daily, on the 1 day. This could start to be pretty gnarly if we really sell off today. into the afternoon.
But did you know there's a YouTube music app?
Let's not run ads from YouTube. Nice. Yeah, this looks kind of weak, guys. I think we're going to break one way or the other from this area, right? You know, we're starting to consolidate now. We could be just reloading for the absolute sell-off. I could definitely see a crack higher all the way back up to this and then a sell-off. That would make sense if we were really going to move lower on the day. That's absolutely in store. We could also not do any of that and just start to bottom out here and find buyers and then start to push higher. But most likely to me, gun to my head, I'm short with a stop above this level right here, looking for a breakout to the downside right now. This is looking weak, right? We are breaking lows, breaking these lows to the downside, pulling back up, testing prior lows, broken in a downtrend, pushing lower, breaking lows, pulling back up, failing to get above highs, and pushing lower. This is bearish market structure, right? I wouldn't make a case that this is bullish market structure. You could say, well, we are bottoming out here. We got a little bit of a double bottom starting to form. Maybe we're going to form some kind of bullish head and shoulders looking pattern, and maybe you can make a case for that. I always try to kind of like think about if I was going to make the case for the other way, how would I do that? This looks weak though, man. This looks very weak. And again, higher time frame, which we pay attention to, but we don't live and die by on the 1 minute, at least me, is lining up with this. We've been pushing lower. You know what the daily chart looks like. This may break and go. There's just been so much like quick strength out of these lows that I'm cautious down here. I don't know that I'm going to take this one, guys. This looks short. I'm not going to get frustrated and call this hesitation. This is giving me plenty of time. It's just not as clean as I would like, right? On something like this, we have clean structure, right? So I'm aggressively short on that next push down. Now we consolidate, right? And yes, like I said, this is still structured to the downside, but we got a lot of consolidation here. And the more this happens, you know, the more likely a sweep above this area becomes before a move down. A fake out, a push back up, and then a continuation. So I just don't like this as much. So for those reasons, I'm not going to jump in here. But if you said gun to your head, press the buy or sell button, I'm short for sure. Down towards this 560 with a stop above here. I'm just not going to take this one. I don't like it as much. But NASDAQ selling off. YM still living in its own world, consolidating at VWAP. ES cracking lows again, dancing around down here. But this looks like we're going to break. And when we do, when we're breaking right now, but it looks like eventually when we see some follow through, like it's going to be violent. Otherwise, we're going to reject and come back up. We're dancing around here. We see a lot of volume traded as we come down to these lows, like quite a bit. So we could be running stops here like repeatedly. But eventually, if we just keep doing it, you know, it looks like we want to break. But yeah, same price action, man. We come down, crack the low, and then, you know, like immediate crack back up. But again, I'm looking at this. If we are actually going to follow through, I think we come down pretty aggressively. Like, might be really, really aggressively. All right, so on Bookmap, that 560 is now off the book. Here's what I mean. Here's how I can tell that. Take a look at this level. This is what I was looking at for us to potentially come down into. This has been pulled for whatever reason. You can see a little bit more did come on as that changed over, but not enough. Like, this wasn't moved up. We still have some down here. A little bit looks like it was starting to get put back on right here. But we don't have nearly as many orders down at this 650. So that's Bookmap. You have to watch, right? That's just order flow in general. If you're going to use resting orders, you know, in your trade thesis, they're going to change in real time. anybody at any time can move orders around. But that is off the book, so that's not as strong of a case. But we still got quite a bit here, man. I think we push lower. I'm still looking at this as a short. Let's see if we break really violently to the downside. This looks like we want to go. Again, didn't take it out of this consolidation. Not calling this one a missed trade. You know, not looking at hesitation. Just don't like this as much as the initial push lower, and really finding continued momentum with nice, even, measured moves to the downside. But this looks like it wants to go. Buyers, buyers are trying to pull it back up, but every one is a lower high on low time frames to come back down lower. Yeah, like that looks very weak. That looks very weak. Very weak across time frames. Let's reset my VWAP line. Be right back, guys. Be right back with you. Oh, yeah. Breaking lows. Breaking lows, man. Yeah, good read of the market this morning. But, yeah, just didn't like it out of that area consolidation. But this isn't bad. You know, especially even on, like, the first one right here or right here. Not bad. Gave you a clean way to structure risk. Just not hard to quantify because I'm discretionary. But I'm not going to say as high probability, right? Because then how are you how are you defining that? But for me, not as high probable, not as high probability, just discretionary and like my subjective opinion. But interesting, man. A lot of weakness out of these markets. A lot of weakness. Where do we go from here, guys? I mean, what do we do from here? Are we gonna see some correction? Are we gonna pull back up? Gonna pull back up at some point and go check out like the 850s, something along those lines. Are we just gonna keep selling off day over day? That's pretty gnarly, man. Looking very weak, very, very weak. But we'll be watching it here live every day, 9:30 a.m., man. Appreciate you being on with me. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. You can chat. Someone said Zach wants to keep the trolls out, but he let me in. Yeah, that's funny, man. It's funny. All right, we were talking about different prop firms, right? If you guys want to check out straight to funded, you could check out Tradeify. You could be copy trading 5 funded accounts today if you want to. Code RDF for the best deals. But we were talking about Take Profit Trader, which is another pretty solid firm. You use code RDF at Take Profit Trader if you like. For example, you pass the eval on the 50K. If you make $3,000 on day one, you can take $1,000 payout on day one. There has to be a buffer zone. No consistency rule, no 5 days, 10-day rule. Just like that, you can take the profit. But for funded accounts, it's intraday, unrealized drawdown, and that's what keeps me away. Yeah, that is it. Really, is it intraday unrealized? I thought it was intraday realized. But yeah, so like technically that payout system would be like the best, right? You could get paid right away. For me, I try to look like what's reasonable. Like, how long are you really going to trade an account? Like, what's the goal here? You know, are you YOLOing accounts to get a payout on day one and to take a third of the profit that you make? You know, like, and then leave yourself with a certain amount of buffer? Like, what's the game plan? So for me, I think like the minimum days to pay out and, you know, how quick we pay out, like even in terms of like how fast the payout hits your account, I think that stuff is more marketing. Like, again, is it better? Sure. I want to get paid out as quick as possible. But like, as long as it's reasonable and it makes sense and it's not limiting you, for the most part, like, I'm okay with it. You know, I think it's reasonable. If you look at like, you know, some industry standard type stuff, 5 to 10 days to pay out. Sure, I think having aggressive like 5 days, be able to like be trading and on day 5 in 1 week be getting paid out from an account would be like super ideal. But for the most part, you know, you're going to get some trading in on the account, and you're not just going to, you know, make a big enough profit where you want to take a payout in the first place. You know, again, more freedom, more flexibility, definitely better. But that stuff is not what really worries me so much. Like, I really look at things like the buffer, right? Like, that's important. $200 green days are tough. Consistency rule, you know, like that is definitely something to consider based on your strategy and your approach. And then like minimum profit that you have to make, for example, you know, do you have to make a certain amount in that account? Well, that's, you know, that's tough. But yeah, I see it, man. There's just different rules across all of these. So, you know, none of them are exactly the same. There's similarities across some of them, but you know, you really got to do your own research. And that's why in that video, right, that one that I made over the weekend, I talk about a lot of the big differences between like straight to funded and Topstep, you know, Tradeify and Topstep, but go through the frequently asked questions, you know, page, understand the rules for sure. And don't trade with garbage scam companies. Anything with completely subjective, unclear rules, constant issues with payouts. You see tons and tons and tons of issues, constantly changing rules left and right. Every week and every month, there's a different set of rules. You got to jump through hoops to get paid. Like that type of stuff, I'd probably just stay away from. I've been scammed far too many times in the Forex prop firm world to need to be scammed again. But that's my 2 cents. There's usually red flags, right? Some red flags right away that jump out at you, right? With the company, with the rules, with the way things are operating. And you should listen to your gut on that. I think if more guys did, there'd be a lot less frustration. Also, like the cheapest account, you know, the absolute 99% off, it's, you know, it's $5 for the account. Is that probably going to be the best one? Is that going to suit you best? Is that going to be the most advantageous? I don't know. Look at how it works out in life. Usually not. Sometimes you get a great deal, right? Topstep had some wild deals back in the day, but usually not, right? This still looks weak, man. Again, I'm watching this to the downside. I'm not taking a second follow-up trade here. Anything hitting the sell button today looks like it would have continued to work. I'm happy with where I'm at least for the live session, hopping right on. First 30 minutes, take a winner that plays out, put 200 bucks across, almost 200 bucks across 3 accounts in about 2 minutes to the downside right here. Got short. Happy with that. Out of this consolidation, you know, sure, there's a second trade to the downside here that wouldn't have played too bad, but based on the way this was forming, really aggressive buying as we started to break lows on all of these, some volatility, and then not even really breaking the way that I thought. Like, I figured on this, once we finally started to come lower, like the bottom might fall out, and so this isn't even as comforting, but this looks like we may see the slow grind until maybe we start to break structure and kind of drift back up. We can have one of those days. Maybe buyers step in here aggressively at a certain point, but this has just been weak. Just been weak overall to the downside. My only idea is sometimes you make $1,000 profit, sometimes you make 20. Some days you take a loss, so I prefer a free hand on my payouts. I burned at least 10 XFAs trying to make $200 a day. Yeah, that's tough. No, and I feel that again, right? Like, there's these consistency rules or these rules to pay out, the payout qualifications, they're tough. So I would say 2 things. One, because I used to really shoot for like $200 days, and I don't as much now. I would say you have to find a firm or firms that allow you to trade the way that you're supposed to trade, the way that your approach works best. Because if you start to try to change things to fit some rule that makes no sense for you, it just causes an issue. So I would encourage you not to shoot for $200 days. Try to have risk parameters that make sense where you will be over $200 days based on what you're risking, but not to just arbitrarily aim for them or try to keep trading if you don't hit it. You know, all these things that kind of just start to go wrong. And then same with, you know, like Tradeify, if you're looking at the consistency rule, you know, if you are someone that puts up like one big, huge day a month and you need that to offset your losses, first off, it's just probably not going to work in general. But you have to have an approach that, you know, allows some consistency between, you know, what those winning days look like. So, you know, yeah, again, but there's trade-offs, right? There's clear trade-offs. You get, you know, payouts and from day one and one, you know, with no consistency type rules, but trailing drawdown, intraday trailing drawdown. You know, for me and what I see, like most flexible, yes, you have to take an eval. Most flexible that I see once you're actually into the XFA, Topstep is pretty far out there, man. Like, they really don't have too many constraints on you compared to others with consistency rules, you know, with the style of trading, with intraday drawdown, you know, that type of stuff. On the pro accounts, the trailing drawdown is calculated intraday based on your peak balance, which includes realized and unrealized gains. The drawdown will follow your intraday count. Yeah, from the frequently asked questions. Wow. Yeah, that's tough, dude. Super tough. Super tough. You know, not going to work for someone that leaves a trade open, that shoots for a, you know, a larger profit. If you want to trail stop losses, I mean, have to trail stop losses, but if you don't want to trail stop loss, you know, if you don't want to have to move stop loss to break even all the time, it's tough. You know, super scalping worked pretty well with that. Just let the process work. Yeah. Again, guys, like, I appreciate that. Once I joined RDF, my idea of take profit has changed. I don't shoot for certain profit targets. I just let the process work. That's the key, man. Like, you have to ask yourself, what's best for trading, right? Like, let's try to forget all these rules for at least, like, my system, my approach. And then as I add these rules in and I take them into consideration, is this, like, totally shifting the way that I'm going to have to do stuff? And then what does that mean for how my system plays out? Like, we do have to play by the rules. We do have to custom tailor to it. But if you have a good approach and then all of a sudden you just say, well, I want to use this prop firm and here's all the rules that I have to abide by and I have to change my approach, like, in all these different areas, that's probably going to have a really negative impact on your trading and your results and your ability to turn a profit consistently and be profitable. So, you know, take that into consideration. And again, the way that you should approach trading, I believe, is trading well for whatever that means for your approach, your system. Focus on the chart in front of you. accepting the risk that you put on with your risk management plan and just taking those trades as they come. Not saying, oh, well, I want to make X amount, or I have to shoot for this amount, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. That should be built into your system and your approach, as is. So, yes, I think like focusing on that stuff after the fact can be harmful. But again, it's a balance. You got to learn to play by their rules. You got to do stuff that works well for prop firms specifically, because that's who we are trading with. But at the end of the day, it should come down to trading the chart in front of you and focusing on the chart in front of you. Create your risk management plan, understand the approach, but focus on the chart in front of you. Focusing on some arbitrary number is almost a death sentence in trading, just my opinion. I never see anyone do well with it. I don't. Set that number yourself. If you have a total risk per day, and you set an upper limit and a lower limit, that should come from you and your risk management plan and your trading, not from an outside source. You can base it around an outside source, but it has to be rooted in like what's best for your approach. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. So anyway, as I'm yapping, talking, this is good conversation. It's good stuff. Important to consider, right? If you're here trading with prop firms, this has been stupid clean to the downside all day. This has just been a beautiful slow drift lower. We are starting to break. Sure, we broke to the upside a little bit there. Sure, we drifted a little bit higher there. We kind of came out a little bit. But this has just been stupid clean to the downside. Took one sell on it. Getting short out of this area consolidation wouldn't have been too bad. If I had a really, really low entry, like that would have been dicey watching this happen a couple times. But I'm not mad on this one, man. We didn't get a really nice momentum, how I would have liked to see right away. We pulled this slow drift, which is okay. Still moving lower. But I'm not looking for a second trade on this, at least right here, right now. Maybe I'll see what happens when we come down to 650. Watch the afternoon. But I'm probably going to move on to some NQ scalping. I got an approach that I've been sharing with you guys, talking about the results from, rather than doing live just yet. It's been pretty solid, but probably get a little bit of that in on my other accounts. Not probably. I'm going to get a little bit of that in on the other accounts, and eventually be bringing that live with you guys and making some videos about it probably first before trading it live, since this is my bread and butter, pays well, but scratching a never-ending itch, as I put it, to aggressively scalp. But on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate you guys being here. I'll be live here almost every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, giving you my entire strategy approach, watching trades play out for winners like we put 500 some odd bucks in these 3 accounts. Watching losers like I had to take on Thursday. But I'll show you how and what I do for free, answer questions to the best of my abilities. Don't claim to be the best trader. Don't claim to know it all, to be on all the leaderboards, to have massive payouts, but just to show you how and what I do for free. If you guys find that valuable, awesome. You want to fade me and do the opposite, more power to you. But remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Nothing I say or do here or anywhere else in my content is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything. It's for entertainment purposes only. I'm just an idiot yapping on YouTube. Do your own research, make your own decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links in my content. Talk to you guys soon. See you guys tomorrow. Talk to you in Discord if you're not already in there. Join up. Links down below this video. Links in the chat. Have a great rest of the day, guys. Talk to you soon.